We will be known as X-Force.
Isn't that a little derivative?
You're absolutely right.
Hey guys, Jack and Drew here. With Deadpool 2 opening this weekend and the Fox-Disney merger maybe almost done, who knows? The question on everybody's mind is how are these Fox movies and MCU movies going to mash together? And since Deadpool's out, specifically we want to know how Deadpool can work in the MCU. So here with Drew, we're gonna chat about it, kind of figure out how and why and where Deadpool can and should fit in with these movies.
Yeah, if he can.
If he can, yeah.
I mean, because obviously the elephant in the room is that Deadpool is an unavoidably R-rated character.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so like, and that is not going to fit in with the kind of, I don't want to say squeaky clean, but more, you know, wider appealing audience that the MCU movies bring in. So if Deadpool ends up becoming an official part of the MCU, will he lose that, do you think? Or do you think that Marvel would be open enough to maybe having Deadpool stay R-rated and that be their like flagship R-rated franchise?
Yeah, I mean, Marvel has kind of agreed that like R-rated movies are something they're considering, but we've yet to see that with the MCU films and stuff, and it took Fox a long time to do it. They've been saying that since the first X-Men film, that they wanted to do R-rated movies. So I think it could work, but I don't know if you'd want to see like Tom Holland and Ryan Reynolds just like going hard R language in front of him. I feel like that might kind of break the like tone of the MCU film. So it'd be interesting to see how they would do that.
I mean, we were talking about it a little bit before we started shooting, and something that we kind of came up with is like, well, because Deadpool is such a self-aware character, it would be great to see him like cameo in these MCU movies and maybe even point out and make fun of the fact that he has to be censored. Mm-hmm. Like have him start cursing and, you know, bleep him or put a little censor bar over his mouth and have him like try to rip it off or something.
You back-ass twaddle fuck. And what the fuck is with these beeps?
So there's definitely a way to integrate him into the MCU and still stay true to kind of what we love about the character. But I think you have a good point there, is like, do you think audiences want to see that? Like, because as much as like hardcore fans know that the MCU is its own thing and the X-Men universe is its own thing, I feel like there's also general audiences who just see it all as Marvel stuff.
Right.
So like, do you think that that's something that general audiences would actually be more apt to see? Like, yeah, I want to see Deadpool kind of, you know, take a shot at Doctor Strange or somebody. Like, is that something that seems appealing?
I think the kind of question for me is whether or not Deadpool's like inclusion in the MCU breaks continuity. Because he kind of like because of his whole nature of being a fourth wall breaking character, can you actually even have him in there without basically just wrecking your own continuity?
Well, I think that's actually one of the benefits of Deadpool is even within his own movies, they don't care about the continuity of their own X-Men franchise. Like they point it out and make fun of it. You know, in the first one, when he says he's getting taken to see Xavier, he's like,
McAvoy or Stewart? These timelines are so confusing.
It's great. So I think there's actually been a precedent set with Deadpool that like, yeah, if he showed up, people would just be like, hey, it's Deadpool, yay, fun. And then he could exit the film unceremoniously and it wouldn't really have a huge effect because people know, yeah, Deadpool, even within his own, you know, small little franchise that he has going on, is really just there to kind of, you know, take the piss.
Yeah. Say that they do insert him into it in one of these big team up ones. Who would you want to see Deadpool kind of like team up with or even like be combative with?
Well, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there with Tom Holland, because putting the little baby of the MCU up against a character who, I mean, has been outright called out, like, oh, your suit looks like Spider-Man, that immediately is going to have some fun banter. And I think it would be great to like, it's either him or Captain America, because Captain America is not going to stand for Deadpool's buffoonery.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. What about you? Is there anybody?
I'd personally love to see him team up with Rocket Raccoon.
That's great.
I think that it might be too much, but like I think that they both kind of have that acerbic like wit to them that pairs really well. And certainly like the new kind of Thor that we currently have, where he's a lot funnier, feels like that could like fit in together. But yeah, the other part about Deadpool is that he's so like related to X-Men, even though he's not technically like an X-Men. He's part of the Weapon X program, and he's in there. So does it maybe make sense to just have him be the face of the new X-Men? Because I don't think we're gonna keep any of this other X-Men stuff when they decide to finally like reboot it.
No, that's a good point. I mean, I hate to be super cynical, but Deadpool makes tons of money, and if Disney does end up purchasing Fox and the X-Men license, they're not going to throw away a money printing machine like Deadpool. They're just not. They'll find a way to do it. And considering that, the current version of the X-Men that we've had, I personally love. I like that there's a looseness to the continuity. It allows certain filmmakers to step in and do different things. Granted, of course, we had Bryan Singer do way too many of them at this point. But, like when we have somebody like James Mangold step in and do Logan, or Tim Miller, or in the sequel, David Leitch step in and do Deadpool 2, they're given a little bit more freedom. And I don't know if that's going to carry over with trying to meld into the MCU with Deadpool. But if anybody's going to survive the great culling of the X-Men universe as we know it, it's definitely going to be Deadpool.
For sure, yeah. I would say like Deadpool and Wolverine, but like probably not at this point.
They'll
a couple years ago, I would have said Hugh Jackman survives it, but not anymore. The other thing that might work for Deadpool in there that feels like it could be cool is to kind of just go back to how comics work and have one-shots.
I would love that. Marvel was doing that.
Yeah.
They were doing those one-shot kind of short films on their DVD releases, and it would be great to have Deadpool kind of show up and do that. It would give him even more of an opportunity to kind of pull the rug out from certain elements of the MCU. That's a great idea. I think that would be wonderful.
Totally removed from the general continuity and stuff. Maybe a little confusing for audience like goers who haven't figured it out.
That's what you Deadpool short films before movies.
Ooh, see, there you go. We did it.
That.
We figured it out. Deadpool short films in front. It's like the little Pixar animated shorts, but in front of every Marvel movie is now a Deadpool short. I would love that. That would be awesome. I would never ever get tired of that. I say confidently. All right. We're interested to hear what you guys think as well. So, do you want Deadpool in the MCU? How do you want him in there? Do you want to see the MCU films become more like the Fox ones if there's a merger? Do you not want a merger at all? Some people are really, really against the idea.
Yes.
Whatever it is, let us know in the comments. And for more info on Deadpool, on the MCU, and on everything you love, keep watching Fandom.